Hello and welcome to Breaking Beauty Podcast. I'm your co-host, Carlene Higgins, and I'm here with my work wife for life, Jill Dunn.
Hey, Carlene, and hey to everyone at home. If you're familiar with our show, if you've been listening for the last 400 plus episodes, we are two longtime magazine beauty editors turned beauty podcasters. And we're in your feeds every single Wednesday, sharing the breakthrough people, products, and moments in beauty. So whether that's celebrities like Tracy Ellis Ross or Hailey Bieber, or very influential dermatologists like Dr. Shireen Idris, or makeup artists like Makeup by Mario, we are always here chatting with the thought leaders in beauty today.
Yes, and we also have product review episodes every single month. They're called Our Damn Good. So don't forget to tune in. And if you're watching on YouTube, give us a thumbs up, comment, and share. This week, we've partnered with OneSkin, one of the leading skin health longevity brands founded by 4 female scientists, to talk about what we're really seeing as the next wave in skincare, cell care.
And that's C-E-L-L care, everybody, not cell, like as in S-E-L-L, cell care. And definitely we're seeing this shift in the industry. They're really focusing on aging cells. How can we get them to sort of act like younger versions of themselves, keep them in order, less chaos amongst the cells, which is going to make our skin as healthy as possible. And it's a topic that can feel very overwhelming and really scientific and very dense, but that's why we brought on a true expert today to chat us through this movement. We're going to be uncovering some of the eye-opening skin health truths that only a cell biologist can share.
We're thrilled to welcome Dr. Alessandra Zonari today. Alessandra holds degrees in biology and stem cell biology, plus a doctorate in skin regeneration and tissue engineering, with 20 plus published papers and 3 patents to her name.
And Dr. Zonari joined OneSkin as a founding member in 2017. And Dr. Zonari is the chief scientific officer, really the mastermind behind the OS1 peptide that OneSkin is known for.
So just ahead, we're going to discover the 7 skin truths that you can only really hear from someone who understands what's happening inside the cell and how cells talk to each other and even sometimes sabotage one another.
And we're going to learn all about the latest research on skin barrier health, the differences between exosomes and peptides. I always need a refresher on that, guys. Sugar's surprising role in aging, the buzz around DNA repair enzymes, which common ingredients could be quietly working against you, and how much of age really is within our control versus written in our genes.
Plus, Alessandra explains how the collagen in our skin is akin to gluten in bread. I've never heard that before. As always, you can find everything we discuss at breakingbeautypodcast.com. And to learn more and take advantage of our listener offer, head to oneskin.co/breakingbeauty. Welcome, Alessandra.
Thank you so much, Jill and Carlene. I'm so excited for this conversation.
So first of all, Alessandra, we need to sort of really let everybody know how big of a deal you are, because I understand that you created a machine learning tool called Mole Clock, MOL Clock, that can read the skin's DNA. And frankly, it sounds like a science fiction movie. So what can it detect about our skin that even, a very thorough analysis from a dermatologist might not be able to?
So we have these wonderful imaging machines, usually in dermatologist clinics, that are super powerful to look at your skin from the surface level. They can surface the sunspots, the pore size, the amount of wrinkles that you have, but they are not telling the true story of what's happening inside the skin. Is the skin behaving and acting as a younger skin, as an older skin? So this kind of information was missing so far in the research on skin aging. So what we did in the beginning, the early days of OneSkin, we developed an algorithm that can read the DNA of the skin. And the DNA of the skin can tell a lot of stories because we have some chemicals inside on top of our DNA that change with aging. And that tells which genes should switch on and off. And reading that, you can predict, this skin is behaving like a 30-year-old skin. This one is behaving like a 40. And you can correlate that with the chronological age of the person. That tool is extremely powerful for us because for the first time since we were looking for novel molecules, we could analyze the effect of this molecule deep inside of how the skin is behaving. And that's completely a non-biased read of like what changes inside the skin when you give a certain molecule or a certain product. So it was a big, powerful tool that we developed. Unfortunately, it's not consumer friendly. We need like a biopsy of your skin to remove your DNA. But it's a very like powerful research tool that we use on the development of our platform, our novel molecule, and our products.
That's incredible because I know that like the Visia imaging system, it's not even that old. And that going into dermatologist's office has been such an eye opener. And I remember going to an event where they were telling my true age based on all of these markers on my skin. So pigmentation and lines from that technology. So this is really like the next generation, which is going beyond those visible markers to what is actually happening in your skin cells. And I think that honestly could be just a metaphor for everything we're talking about today and the direction of skincare. Yeah, it's really something. So tell us, how much of skin aging is within our control and how much is written in your genes?
I love this question because it's very empowering and was something that was a breakthrough for myself when I started this research on skin aging. But all the research around age is leading that only 10 to 25% of the way we age is determined by our genetics, by our genes. Yes, 75 to 90% is our habits, is what we consistently do on a day-to-day that impacts our skin aging, our overall health, and overall how we are aging. So we have way more control on the way we age than we think so. So that story of like, oh, I have bad genes from my parents, my skin is not good, there's nothing I can do, that's not correct.
So we're seeing this really interesting thing happen online where a lot of Gen Z in particular, they're seeking out the UV rating for the day, but not in the way that beauty editors would, which is like, it's got to be like 0 for me to go outside. But they're looking for like, if it's high UV, I'm going to go out, I'm going to get a tan. There's just a resurgence of tanning and looking tan. And somewhere along
even tanning beds.
Yeah, tanning beds. And I think we often leave out the word radiation when we talk about UV. It's UV radiation damage. So under a microscope, as a cell biologist, what is sun exposure doing to our skin cells?
I mean, when we expose our cells, our skin to this UV radiation, it creates damage on our DNA. And that what your skin does, first response is produce more melanin to try to protect from the damage that UV is causing. And if you're constantly being exposed to high UV, that DNA damage will change the cell function, and that cell will become damaged. And this can either go to increase your chances of having a cancer, skin cancer, or a lot of these cells stop dividing and form more of the senescent cells, zombie cells. So instead of being a good, healthy cell, happy, now is a cell that's secreting more inflammation, unhappy, and this can lead to collagen breakdown and the acceleration of the aging process. So excess of UV on your skin and excess of exposure on UV unprotected will lead you to accumulate more damage inside of your skin. And this will lead to your skin have the appearance of an older skin faster. So that short-term tanning that you're getting, that you're being happy, that your skin is more like with a tone that's more glowing, it can come with a long effect of like you having more susceptibility of skin cancer and also aging your skin faster.
I think often, when we're young, we're not thinking ahead and we don't see those damaging results right away. I mean, maybe you're going to get a sunburn, but then it turns into a tan. So that's not so bad. But what we understand as beauty editors is you start to see pigmentation later in life, maybe in your 40s. And they say that is an accumulation that started when you were a child. So I'm curious how that works with skin cells where it's just sort of laying dormant and then later pops out.
Yeah, it's because you're causing some damage. And when you're young, your skin it's better on protecting from this damage and recovering those cells. But then with time, you accumulate more damage over and over. A lot of the cells then now they stop dividing because they have damage and they become senescent. They become zombies. And with time, the accumulation of the zombie cells start accelerating the aging process.
Mm-hmm.
So it starts to show more dysfunction on the melanin production. So you start having more hyperpigmentation, you have more collagen breakdown. And this is this accumulation of damage that you're collecting over time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think like in the 70s, the 80s, there was a big trend of tanning as well. And
we were there.
People today regret so much.
Mm-hmm.
And now seeing that type of trend coming back is like, we're not learning with the science and evolution. So I'm Brazilian. I love being outside. Mm-hmm. I will not be hypocrite here. I grew up, I love the outdoors. But you need to protect your skin from this excess of damage. You can enjoy the sun without damaging your skin, using more protection. And if you want the extra tan, like there are self-tanners that does miracles. So like your skin looks beautiful and you don't damage your skin.
I want to ask you about red light devices, sort of swinging the other way, right? The body ones can look like a tanning bed, but they're really not. I have trouble myself using the red light devices because you're not getting that instant payoff. It almost feels like the new hope in a jar. It's like hope in a light bulb or something, because you're supposedly use it over a long period of time, and it is
seeing
be
is believing, right? Like normally you'd be like, "Oh, I see a result. I'm going to keep using it."
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it is an investment. So I'm curious from your point of view, what you think about these red light devices. Worth it? Not? What are they doing to your cells?
Yeah. The skin biology is something that takes time, like everything, like to you to rebuild collagen, to you to rebuild the skin barrier, nothing like that, nothing that is going deep into the function of the skin happens overnight.
Right.
Everything takes time. So we need to shift our mindset of like some things we are doing for our health for the long term. They are not like immediate payoffs because the biology of our body takes time to be adjusting and to be having this new way of behaving, this new environment. So that's something that if we don't understand that things take time and become consistent, we will lose having benefits of a lot of technologies. Mm-hmm. And red light is one of them because the science there, different from UV, the infrared light, the red light is very safe for your cells, does not cause the damage, the DNA damage that UV causes, and is absorbed by our mitochondria. Mitochondria is a part of our cells that produce energy. So if you're able to make the mitochondria produce more energy, you're letting your cells be more energetic, be able to produce more collagen, more healthier. And red light can do that to your skin, but it's also it's a little bit of energy every day that will build with time to be, now my skin is producing more collagen, is more radiant, is more firm. So the science behind red light is very legit. It's true. But as you said, it needs consistency. You will not see anything overnight. And the problem is a lot of times people give up and they don't really experience the benefits of something like that.
Go on Facebook Marketplace, see how many red light therapy devices are for resale. Because people are get all excited and then they're like, I don't know if it did anything.
Yeah, I would always recommend don't buy just because it looks cool, whatever.
Yeah.
Go to their website and check if there is clinical studies, if there's real research behind that machine. Otherwise, you may be buying something that actually is not doing anything because the wavelength is too short or it's not being absorbed.
Yeah. Well, I always find it fascinating that red light therapy devices, many of them, you can get like FSA or HSA approval on those, which is like a medical device you can write off on your insurance, right? So I was like, that I think is pretty telling with how effective they are. And they're in that class.
The at-home ones.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like when you go on dermstore.com, it's a bit of an aside, but they have a whole section that's like, is it called HSA? And FSA approved, where you can buy it and then you like write it off through your insurance.
Really?
Yeah.
And
Sorry,
do you
aside.
use it, Alessandra? Do you use one?
So I'll be very honest. No, I don't use it.
Okay.
Not because I don't believe on it.
Yeah.
But it's because I'm a very practical person and I like short skin routines.
Yeah, got it.
So I'm still keeping very simple, but it's something that potentially I will consider introducing.
Got it.
But I need to,
You're a minimalist. I respect that.
And I will only start when I commit myself that I will do daily. Otherwise, it doesn't make sense.
Yes.
Got it.
And speaking of investments, apparently there's a trend that a lot of women in their 30s are doing called collagen banking. And it's the idea that if you're going to lose 30% of your collagen by the time you reach your 50s, I think this in your 30s, it starts dropping off dramatically, right? You better, quote unquote, stock up on your prejuvenation treatments. So can our skin cells actually sort of hold on to or squirrel away collagen like that?
I mean, I found this funny to call collagen banking because it's kind of like, imagine if our skin could be on a part here, create like a whole bag. And let's protect this collagen here to only use when you are 55, 65 and start giving to you. So that idea, I mean, that's not what actually means. You cannot be stocking collagen inside your skin and being used later on. What's happening, why we are reducing collagen with aging, it's two things. Our cells start to produce less collagen because they are accumulating damage, and we start degrading collagen faster. So what we should be doing instead of collagen banking is like banking our healthy cells. So if you are able to keep the fibroblasts, the cells that produce collagen, as healthier as possible for longer, they will be producing collagen more later on. So there are ways like of reducing inflammation, reducing damage. Damage is it's one of the first causes of the cells stop producing that much of collagen. So avoid the damage on your cells, avoid accumulation. We call this senescence, the zombie cells, the fibroblasts that are not healthy anymore, and they're still there. So you want less of this and more of the healthy ones. So when we talk about collagen banking, for me, is more, what can I do to support my skin so my skin is healthier for longer? So when I get longer, it's still capable, strong enough to produce collagen and not degrade, so I can still have that firm skin later on in life.
Well, this is exactly the topic we're talking about: cell care, taking care of your cells. I think what some people don't realize is that when those zombie cells are created, those are replicated. Right? So it's not just that you've created these zombie cells. Those zombie cells, truly like the zombie movies, are going to replicate themselves and flood your system with defective cells, right? We're going to get into that in just a second. On OneSkin's Instagram page, it says collagen in your skin is like gluten in bread. So explain that.
I love that we put this out there because it's a great analogy, but it's not the first one that people associate with. But gluten is a protein, and a lot of people don't even know that gluten is a protein. Collagen is also a protein. And what gluten does to the bread when we're making the dough and then you put in the oven, the gluten creates this scaffold, this network of proteins that allow the bread to be firm and fluffy and gives the whole structure for the bread. And similarly, on our skin, the collagen creates this network of protein chains that allows you to feel like the firmness, the bounce, and the elasticity of the skin. So that's the analogy.
Give me that
They're
bread
both like
skin.
Sourdough barrier.
I want fluffy brioche bread.
Bread
the
barrier.
thing is, if you overcook a bread, it will become stiff, right? Because if you overcook a bread, you create cross-link on the gluten. And a similar process happens on skin aging, where our collagen starts to cross-link and become more stiff. And with more stiffness, you start seeing your skin with more crepiness and more sagging. So it's a similar at the molecular level of like what is proteins and what they're doing is a similar mechanism that's happening in the bread that can have that bread that's very bouncy and fluffy versus a bread that's stiff. The similar mechanisms biologically is happening on your skin and collagen as well.
And let's talk about collagen creams. Since we're here, let's talk about them. And a lot of people, have believed that applying collagen topically can build collagen in their skin. Now, as beauty editors, we've been told forever that that's not really applicable because the collagen molecule is too big, can't penetrate. If you can clear that up, because I think that there's a whole other mechanism for it, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, the number one, if you have collagen on a topical application, you are so right. They're too big of a molecule that cannot penetrate your skin and just be there as a collagen. Oh, I have new collagen here. It's not what happens. It's the same when a lot of times you ingest collagen. That collagen is not specifically going there and replacing another collagen and creating the collagen banking. That's not happening on a topical cream or when you're ingesting. What can be possible is if you have collagen peptides, smaller portions of collagen, they can interact with fibroblasts and activate some collagen production. So if you have collagen peptides, even when you are ingesting, they can go to your skin and they can stimulate collagen production. Again, that idea that the collagen will go down there and replace and create more collagen, it's not that directly. It's the fact that you can stimulate your cells to produce collagen again.
What I think is confusing to the consumer is that, so I always look at collagen creams and I just kind of bin them immediately because I assume that it's a gimmick. So what should people look for on the label when they are trying to birth their collagen or look after their collagen in the best way possible? Is it exosomes? Is it the word protein, peptides? So maybe you can just help us, like, what is the most effective in building that collagen?
Yeah, I'm with you. If a product says collagen to boost your, that for me is already a no.
Red flag.
It's a red flag because collagen cannot go there and penetrate your skin. But there are actives that can stimulate your cells and to produce more collagen. And there are peptides that can do that. Retinoids can do that. Even vitamin C can help doing that. And then we have exosomes, PDRN. A lot of ingredients can help your skin cells. What I will always look when I'm considering a product is what are the evidence that that product has to prove those claims. Do they have clinical studies? Do they have research in a lab that validates collagen production? For instance, collagen production, the only way you can affirm if you measure on a skin tissue. It's not you cannot say produce more collagen just by looking the skin. It's an indirect association. But if you're saying boost collagen production, you should be able to prove and show at least a type of experiment. If it's in cells, in tissues, even if it's in the lab, something that indicates that you know that you're going to boost collagen. So there are a lot of good ingredients out there. One thing that it's hard for the consumer is because not every time the ingredient is in the best formula or the best combination. And it's very hard to a consumer to know that. Sometimes you have good ingredients, but they are not in a stable formula. So they are not being able to penetrate your skin. And that's very hard. I know because I test everything in the lab. But for a consumer, that's why I say, do they have any science evidence behind? Because if they have, they will scream their data. We love telling data when we have data. So look for products that has more evidence than just like beautiful overnight claims in their package.
Right. Now, switching gears a bit, we need to talk about exosomes and peptides, which I feel like comes up a lot. And it's definitely synonymous with the longevity, skin health movement, skin health span, all of that. From your perspective as a cell expert, what is the difference between exosomes and peptides?
Okay, so they're quite different.
Yes.
The peptide, it's a short sequence of amino acids. Amino acids are the building blocks of proteins. And the peptide can signal a cell to do something, but it's very specific. Each peptide with a different sequence of amino acids can give a different signal to a cell. So one peptide can signal a cell one thing. For instance, our peptide tells the zombie cells to stop secreting the bad things and help them repair themselves. Other peptides can stimulate directly collagen. It's very one-to-one. A peptide has one single message. Exosomes, they're
trucks, aren't
they?
They're
delivering all the messages.
Yeah.
They have a lot of message inside themselves, not a single one. A peptide is a single message, where exosomes, they have a different cargo inside. They can have like growth factors, proteins, lipids, and that will depend from where the exosomes were extracted. So they also carry messages to the cells, but those messages, not one clear message. They can be mixed up inside the exosomes. And the tricky things about exosomes, there are two things. One, the stability of the exosomes is a big concern because they're not super stable, and only now they're starting to have some companies that are being able to stabilize exosomes. I mean, even 3 years ago, if I would see exosomes on a label, I would say no. Now there are companies that I trust more the science, and we have been testing more exosomes in our labs, and some of them are really getting more stable. So the stability is one thing. So if you're buying from a source that does not pay attention to that, maybe they say exosomes, but there's nothing there anymore. And the other, the content of the exosome. So if you're able to standardize, and it's hard, that the content inside the exosome, then you know that on all lots of products, you are delivering the same messaging. And this can be a little bit tricky from the biology when you are scaling productions of exosomes, that not always they carry the same information inside them. So can have variability on the efficacy, while the peptide is more targeted. Single message, one thing, you know what to expect and what you get. Exosomes can be a little bit more blurbed in that sense.
So there's a lot of potential with exosomes, but for you, the jury is still out with whether they can be as efficacious, as stable, as consistent, like all of these things. Because I always think about exosomes and I think this is great, like with growth factors, for instance, amazing. Like let's explore this, let's get it going. The other part of me thinks, oh, what if it kickstarts another message I don't want it kickstarting? Like there have been studies about that where it's kickstarting maybe a growth you don't want. And this is a different area of expertise, of course, but it does give me pause sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, growth factors can be awesome to yourself, but as you said, like if it's not the right environment, or if you don't know exactly the load that you are adding, it can be dangerous as well, because growth factors stimulate your cells to replicate. And if this becomes
could be sending the wrong message.
Yeah, you can leave the wrong message. So I'm more careful with exosomes. It's evolving a lot, and we have been following and testing a lot of things in our lab. So with exosomes, definitely only buy if the vendor has data and it's a brand that you trust.
I wanted to ask you about your OneSkin peptide OS1, because you know, Jill and I have sat through a lot of kind of lectures from skincare brands about zombie cells and senescence in the past. And they've talked about clearing out the zombie cells. You want to clear those out so that your healthy, well-functioning cells can then propagate. But when we were looking at what you've created, it's not about wiping them out. It's about kind of flipping them. So maybe you could explain that point of difference.
Yes. So first of all, just go one step back. Maybe everyone doesn't know what are zombie cells.
Yeah.
Zombie cells are the cells that accumulate damage. They stop dividing, and usually they are removed from our skin naturally, but with aging, they start to accumulate and they secrete inflammation. So the accumulation over time, more zombie cells that you have on your skin, that starts to lead to spreading of the zombie cells and also collagen breakdown and more visible signs of skin aging. What you said is in the beginning, how we then address this problem of zombie cells in the skin. And there are two ways of trying to do that. One, as you said, killing those zombie cells, and the other one is modulating those zombie cells to not be harmed and protect the other cells to not induce more senescence. The thing with the first approach that's called senolytics, right? You kill the cells, is that two things. One, is very hard to develop the drug that can specifically only kill the zombie cells. A lot of times when you're trying to develop this, you end clearing the zombie, but also healthy cells at the same time. The second thing is the zombie cells, if you're always clearing them all the time, especially if you want a product that has a continued use, you want to avoid that. Just killing them all the time cannot be so beneficial because your body needs that mechanism as well to protect from damage. So you don't want to be eliminating the mechanism completely. So when we started to understand zombie cells as a key driver of skin aging, this back in 2016, 17, and 18, on the early days of OneSkin, and we wanted to target the skin, molecules for us became more interesting and more safe, molecules that are able to modulate that process, remove the harm, and when you remove the harm of the skins, you allow the body to start the very old senescent cells, they now regain the ability of removing them from your body. So for us, it's an approach that is more safe, more effective, and especially for daily use, for a topical application, to modulate the senescent cells instead of killing senescent cells.
Is this something that is only really applicable once you start seeing aging? If somebody's in their 20s, do they have zombie cells that you need to mitigate?
What it does is very preventative as well, because prevents the cells to become senescent cells.
Okay.
So if you start earlier, has even more potential, because once you're already with a lot of senescent cells accumulated, you start from there, you can reverse a little bit, but you don't clear everything out, right? You help from that point on, you reverse a little bit, but you don't do magic here. So prevent is always very, very interesting the earlier you start, because then you avoid the accumulation of these senescent cells.
It's like a different kind of banking, like healthy cell banking.
Is banking, so the OS1 is you're helping to bank your healthy cells.
Mm-hmm.
You're banking
for longer.
cell health banking.
And we know that OneSkin, the results from the OS1 peptide are backed by 4 peer-reviewed studies. And one finding was pretty mind-blowing, and that was that 50% fewer aging cells in just 2 days. How is that possible? And when you brought that to the scientific community, was there skepticism? How'd you answer it?
First of all, the skepticism, this always happening. I think that's drives science, because if you have one good data, the scientific community will always be, can you validate this in different models? Can you do this repeat more times? So skepticism and science always go together, and it's good because it forces you to really prove what you found. That data that shows a reduction of 50% in senescence was our first data when we were screening the molecule, and we were using a model of fibroblast, which has a genetic condition that leads to a lot of formation of senescent cells. So it was a specific model to try to find something that can modulate senescent cells.
So these were worst case scenario.
Exactly.
They were already really going down a bad path, and you're let's stop it.
Let's start from there.
Yes.
And that's a model. We screen almost 1,000 different peptides. And yes, when we saw this one that was going all the way up to 50% reduction, that was the one that struck our attention. And we start to validate then in different models. So then going from a model that has a disease to let's take fibroblasts from older patients, from people that are 70, 80 years old, that also accumulates more senescent cells. And then we validated that in older fibroblasts, we also could reduce not all the way up to 50, but to 30% the accumulation of senescent cells. We then went to another model where young cells, we induce UV. So UV in the lab, you put young cells, you expose to UV, you start having more senescent cells as well. So we also, in that model, we saw that we could reduce the accumulation of senescent cells and reduce the inflammation. And then we went to ex vivo skin, where you have the tissue, the skin tissue in the lab. So we validated over and over before we bring this into a topical application and start testing cosmetically. So there is a whole true process. It's not one single data. And each data, like, you need to interpret exactly what's showing to you to understand the full picture.
So when people were skeptical, you were like, boom, receipts, boom, receipts.
That's how it usually happens in the science field.
Exactly.
Like, people skeptical. I will run another experiment and show you another way. We'll do one more.
How many do you need to see?
And that led us to, on our main publication, our paper has 6 main figures, but 12 supplementary figures. Some figures goes to letter A, B, C, until M. So there's so much data there because we were proving over and over in different scenarios the safety of the peptide and how could modulate on a healthy and safe way the accumulation of senescent cells and how that can make your skin behave healthier. And this will lead to a better looking skin. And unfortunately, not all the brands have the resources or can do that. But one thing that we've seen a lot in our lab is that not all formulations can deliver the ingredients. Sometimes an ingredient itself is super good, but when you put on that emulsion or that formulation, you're not being able to deliver on the right way and you don't see the effect of that ingredient anymore.
Right.
And so a lot of brands just combine good ingredients and sell it. We always test in our lab and we make sure that we have the readout of that ingredient on the skin. And we've seen that sometimes combining multiple ingredients, you lose the effect of one, or a same ingredient in 2 different formulas, it can perform better on this type of formula versus the other one. So it's a whole level of research.
Exactly. Looks great on paper or looks great in a bottle, but when you actually put it on your skin, it's not penetrating,
not working.
Kind of thing.
Are there any ingredients that you feel as a cell biologist that can be working against the skin that are maybe common and you see them on a label and they're maybe not helping us out, but doing the opposite of what they intended?
One thing that I see sometimes is ingredients that are supposed to be doing something, but in that formula, they don't work. We've seen that testing in our lab, that depending on the formula, and we also test products that are in the market and products with the same ingredients, and we see that one performs better than the other one. So a lot of times what I see is not an ingredient doing bad, is an ingredient not doing what it's supposed to do.
So there's no bad ingredients, just bad formulas.
It's more bad formulas now. And as we mentioned, growth factors is something to be a little bit more aware of, where you're getting them. As we said, excess of growth factors of the wrong growth factor could induce something differently. But
Buyer beware.
Hope that,
And our last question for you, what is the quiet saboteur, that the everyday habit that we're doing that we don't realize is causing us damage?
We say sleep is important, but I think not everyone realizes why we say that. But our biology, our cells has a clock inside them that they do different things during the day and during the night. And at night on the skin is very interesting. The skin improves the permeability at night. So the skin is more able to penetrate things during the night than during the day. So it's important to have that night skincare routine. And at night, the cells are more prompt to be repairing damage. So it's the time like when you give the right ingredients to support to your skin, during the night, during the sleep hours, the skin is doing this repair, is increasing blood flow on your skin, is increasing the permeability, and it's the time that all the magic is happening. So when you're cutting your sleep and not having a good sleep routine, you're really jeopardizing a good skincare routine, and you are not supporting a good skin aging as well.
Like, how many hours are you getting?
I'm getting between 7 and 8.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. We also love a scoop around here at Breaking Beauty. I'm a big fan of the OneSkin topical supplement, which is their moisturizer. I love the lip mask. That's an essential for me. What else are you working on? Can you give us a little teaser?
Yes, we have something extremely exciting coming in September. Our face moisturizer was our first product. It's kind of like my baby. Like one of my favorite products, was the first one we brought to the market. It's a very lightweight moisturizer, but we have seen and we learned that like a lot of times it's not giving the enough hydration to the skin.
Okay.
And a lot of times when your skin is getting more mature, we go through like a density shift in our life where things starts, we're going good. And now the hydration, the dryness of the skin just accelerates too fast. So we are bringing a version of moisturizer for the face that's richer, and took us 2 years to develop this formula, and it's coming now in September, and I'm very excited with all the data that we got with that. And I think for our customers that have been with us that ask for a little bit more of moisture, we are bringing this soon.
Just in time for the fall. I love to see it, Alessandra. Yes. Well, thank you so much, Alessandra, for sharing all of your expertise with us today. We learned so much. And thank you to OneSkin for partnering together on this episode. And friendly reminder that we have a very special promo code for Breaking Beauty listeners and OneSkin. So you use code Breaking Beauty at oneskin.co, that's .co/Breaking Beauty. And when asked, please let them know that you heard about OneSkin from us, your humble hosts here at Breaking Beauty podcast. So thank you once again, Alessandra. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. This was awesome.
Bye.